Welcome to another episode of Self-Love for Everyday Superheroes. I am your host, Sigrid Walker, bringing you an amazing topic today on smart moves by a Black entrepreneur. Today's podcast is meant to support you towards your journey of well-being. Here, we unlock unstoppable love in you as ambitious leaders through strategies that are deepening self-love, reclaiming authentic freedom, and achieving mental clarity and better health so you can manifest your vision of excellence without the naysayers in the world and the inner critic in your own damn mind blocking your shine. We have a special treat coming up for you at the very end. If you haven't done so already, do make sure to like and subscribe. I want to make sure that you stay connected to us. And we have some amazing tips for you that are coming up behind the scenes that we are currently preparing for our first kickoff challenge. I am so excited about unlocking unstoppable love that is you, so that you can be the unstoppable visionaries that you are. More on that later. So first and foremost, I want to remind everyone that this show is for educational purposes. So whether you're an audience today of one, or we recently hit 20,000 downloads or more, I want to make sure that you feel connected as if you are one-on-one or one in community with us. If you are seeking that deeper support, do reach out to our main office for support. We have everything from mental health coaches, financial coaches, business coaches who are supporting you as an everyday superhero to take your success to the next level using self-love, self-care, and success strategies to help you to shine. Today's show is so gorgeous. The topic of smart moves by a Black entrepreneur as we move into Black History Month. And I believe Black History Month is every month as the queen that I am, and as the queen, if you are identifying as such as you are, or the king or the queen that you are. And so today's topic is so important because we are going to be speaking into some power moves that I have learned over the last decade of me running Kumba Health, and really since 2008, having founded our company and really having it thrive. So there are a lot of major nuggets that are going to help you, whether you are a Black entrepreneur, an ally, or someone who might be the one of something in your field, right? You might be sitting at the table and feeling like, I am the one of this kind in this group. And so I have something that I bring to the table that is unique, but sometimes can also stand out. So I want to make sure that you have some smart moves from a Black entrepreneur today. And this ties not only into our current, so that we can show it powerfully, but shows up in our past, right? Everyone has a past, myself included, things that I've overcome. And so if you are tuning in, you are someone who has overcome some life changes and you are still here. And we are here to support you to not only build generational well-being, but generational wealth mindset, WELLTH, so that you can level up in the future. And the more that we have that self-love and self-care, the more that you can attract what you truly, deeply desire, when the pain can become our superpower, our painful past can become our superpower. So I'm committed to empower 1 million ambitious individuals, executives, and high achieving creatives to create breakthroughs that have been holding their well-being back. And I want to make sure that as you achieve that peak performance, we are right there hand in hand with you, supporting you to rise. So let's go. All right. Self-love is super important to this topic of smart moves as a Black entrepreneur. It is super essential for us to look at. I know when I first learned about what it means to have smart moves as a Black entrepreneur, I was someone who had many touch points in this. I remember going back to a day when I was in grad school, and I was speaking to this amazing mentor of mine, one of many who have walked with me and showed me the power and importance of mentorship. And she pulled me aside when I submitted the topic for my independent study that I was doing for that semester. I always created one because I always thought outside of the box from the mainstream curriculum, because I didn't always see people who looked like me or found Black entrepreneurs in the textbooks. So I had to create my own pathway. And so I went to her and spoke into what I wanted to do. I said that I wanted to create something I wanted it to speak into soul medicine. I wanted something that wasn't quite fully therapy, wasn't quite religion, wasn't quite traditional medicine, and wasn't leadership, but it had to have a crossroads of the four. And it felt like soul medicine to me, grounded in love, that all of those were at its best love, right? All of those four areas at its best were love. And she broke it down to me real, and I so appreciate her. She said, you know what? I support you. I got your back on this one. But if you call this soul medicine, I get it, right? She was this powerhouse of a Puerto Rican woman. And as an Afro-Caribbean Jamaican woman, we resonated. She got it, right? But she was like, I'm gonna be real with you. There are folks who, when you try to put this out there, are gonna give you a hard time. And so I want you to finish this track. I want you to make sure that you can graduate and then make the impact that you have. She was teaching me how to code switch. She was like, you know what? We might have to tie this into more cultural psychology. We might have to look at how are you empowering the community and looking at cultural psychology as a frame, even though you're doing soul healing work, right? Even though you're looking at that. And so I still studied what I needed to. I still found the books, professors, I still connected. I still traveled to Jamaica and studied the impacts on community. I still work with leaders to craft programs and studied traditional healing and studied leadership and studied psychology and found those lost nuggets that might not have been in the curriculum. I still did what I needed to do, but what I called it on the surface was what helped me push through. And so this is one of the many reasons I do what I do, why I do what I do, right? Smart moves by a Black entrepreneur, okay? Number one, it is super important that if you are in an environment where you are one of the few of something, and for me, I was one of the few Black Jamaican interfaith leaders in grad school who wanted to look at not just religion, and there's nothing wrong with just religion, but not just religion, not just psychology, not just leadership, not just looking at culture, right, and cultural healing. I wanted to look at the crossroads and couldn't find it. And because I was oftentimes feeling like I was speaking a different language, she taught me to code switch. Number one, sometimes to move through, we must call it A and step in powerfully and do B. Because when you come into the door, you're going to get all of those things. But to make it through to graduate, we needed to call it cultural psychology. And there was power in how we were uniquely, and I say we now because now I'm a part of a team of practitioners that I've spearheaded, but I at the time had to create a different vantage point of understanding it. So I was still doing the main psychology, but then I had to almost work twice as hard to study outside of so that the thing that I wanted to do could get understood so that I can graduate, so I can do what I needed to do with that degree and make an impact, right? And now we've been able to serve thousands all over the world. But if I got stuck on, wait a minute, but this is soul medicine, I don't think so, which is important for me to advocate. But now I was a stronger advocate because I had that behind me, right? Number one, sometimes we have to call things A when it's B so we can pioneer forward, right? How am I going to get invited to the table if I'm still stuck at the door, right? So we want to make sure that that Shirley Chisholm phrase of sometimes if there's no room for you at the table, right? You have to build space, step up, right? But if I'm stuck over here on, oh, but wait, this label doesn't fit who I am, I might miss the opportunity to actually show up. And whatever you call it, just know that I'm going to be making that impact that is necessary for what is called on my life. So number one, sometimes you call it A and it's B. Number two, self-care before guilt care. This is important. All right, this is important. If you are listening and you are part of a dominant group of any kind, for example, I might be a woman, but I also might be a white woman. I might be a Black woman, but I don't identify as a trans Black woman, right? there are many layers to being a part of a dominant group and a group that is not always holding power, right? Sometimes when I am speaking to someone, or if I'm holding space, say, for example, we're doing inclusive leadership development trainings as a company and burnout prevention for companies, there might be times where in picking up what's coming up, someone might feel guilty. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I was making this impact. I was saying it the wrong way this whole time. I've been speaking about Black people in this way, or I might be generalizing in a way that's harmful, or I might be speaking about Black LGBT people and making assumptions in a general way, and I feel guilty. That guilt work, you get to work with one of our coaches. You get to be matched with someone. You get to work with me or one of our team members so you can unpack that. One of the smart moves, number 2, smart moves by a Black entrepreneur, is that I've learned self-care before guilt. Because one of the hardest things can be that I'm taking time to take care of myself while also trying to tiptoe and make sure that I don't offend you, because the guilt comes up and all of a sudden I'm taking care of you versus myself. So it's really important that as everyday superheroes who embody different cultural spaces, that if I'm feeling guilty about something, that I say, instead of going into the guilt, I say, oops. I say, oops. That's my way of like, you know what? Let me take some time to think about what I just said before I begin to have you take care of my guilt. But on the other side, I have learned that there are times where, depending on the person I'm speaking to, I might have to say, you know what? I appreciate the fact that this is really difficult for you, the fact that you offended me, but I need to take a minute right now because, you know, I need to go grab some water. I need to excuse myself. I have a meeting, right? And if it's someone I'm close to, I can say, you know what, right now, I'm not able to hold all of what you're sharing. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let me think about it and come back. And it's important to be able to step away and take care of before I jump in and want to mend you. Now, that's not always easy. If you are someone who's an everyday superhero and someone is offended you, and they are someone who is your supervisor, your superior, your congregant, your client, someone who you have some kind of power relationship with, then you might feel committed to making sure that you let them know these things happen, mistakes happen. And, you know, we are all learning. I recognize that, right? Everyday superheroes, we're wearing many hats, right? We're taking care of you and myself at the same time. Your guilt, my self-care. But what I have found to be sustainable is whether I do it then or after, I take a moment and check in and go, self-care, wait a minute, was that me? And I pick up the phone and I say, hey, listen, this is what I just experienced. And I do a reality check. Smart move from a Black entrepreneur is when I know how to check in to make sure that what I experienced wasn't me. Was it me? Was that me? Right? And you get to pause and check in, right? So step 1, sometimes we need to call something A and it's B so that we can move through. That's code switching. That has been a long-standing thing to navigate. That can be our lifeline. Number 2, self-care before guilt care. Meaning, for example, I remember I was and this happens quite often. I walk in, I'm wearing a power suit. I'm standing in front of a lobby hotel and someone comes up to me and starts talking to me and asking questions about the hotel. And, you know, was there a jacuzzi in the hotel room, or were there robes? And at first I'm thinking, oh, this person just genuinely wants to know my experience. And I was like, well, you know, actually the person to ask would be the person at the desk. I don't work here. And I realize that sometimes there's an assumption about, okay, you see someone in a suit, they must be of service to you. And that you may not even know that that's something that might come across offensive, because there's nothing wrong with working in a hotel. But it's the assumption of having asked first, hey, excuse me, do you work here? So I had to do self-care versus guilt care. I can take time to solvent and help explain and, oh my goodness, and, you know, or get upset or move you forward to another person who works at the hotel. Or I can take a step away and say, excuse me for a moment. I actually have to check out. So let me go ahead and do that. And then I can go in and take a moment and check in with my triggers. I can check in with my mental health space. I can speak with, a friend or someone that loves and cares for me and be reminded, absolutely, Queen, you look amazing in your power suit. And there's nothing about you that said that you were at the head of customer service today. We are excellent at customer service at Kumba Health, but that was not the role that we played that day. And you did not need to go into taking care of her guilt in that, right? Had she been referred to us, one of our coaches would happily have unpacked that. So that is step number 2, right? Self-care before guilt care, if you can help it. And even if you can in that moment, you still return to self-care. Step number 3, make sure to tend to your heart. Oftentimes as everyday superheroes, we are swooshing through and we don't even realize that we are moving so quickly that our heart might get chipped away at by comments, by moments, by things that make us feel uncomfortable if I am one of the only thing in the room. The other side of the coin of isolation or an isolated experience is loneliness. And if we're not careful, loneliness can kind of embed in our heart without realizing it. And we might feel like, wait, does anyone truly understand me? Taking time to do something with our inner child, someone very dear to me, takes time often to color. Before the end of the day, it can be so nurturing for their inner child for his inner child to be able to take time to color. Before I wind up my day, I'm able to do my own evening ritual, to be able to tend to my heart, right? To bring solvent to my heart, to make sure that what it has gathered in the day gets released. And last but not least, what is so pivotal and important is that we remember to not give it all away. The leaf of life is something that I want to bring to our attention as we come to our last tip. Smart moves by a Black entrepreneur. When I was younger, my mom would grow a plant called leaf of life. And we have different names for it in different cultures. So please comment below, chime in if you have something similar in your culture. But it's a kind of plant that grows many, many leaves, and you can peel back a leaf, put it in a little bit of water, the roots start to grow, and then all of a sudden it replicates. And then before you know it, you have a full plant that came from just the leaf that generated its own roots. The leaf of life can be so much like our vision. Many times as a Black entrepreneur, I might have been in different spaces that have fed me, that nurtured me, and I gave a piece of my vision away, right? Here's a piece of this leaf of life and it's blossomed, and those things have now become programs. They've blossomed into young adult programs. They've blossomed into executive coaching programs and therapy programs and amazing, impactful leadership development programs and retreats. Pieces of what I've started in different places, because Kumba Health has always been with me, have become a leaf that I've handed away, right? But what's important about the leaf of life is that you're giving away a leaf, but you're not giving away the whole plant. A smart move by a Black entrepreneur is always to remember that your vision is like the original plant. I may give you a piece of my leaf, but you will never have access to all of me, to all of my vision, to all of my plan. I'm giving you a piece to give you a sense of what will you do with it? Are you trustworthy with that leaf? Or maybe I might plant a seed in an organization that blossoms, but there's a deeper calling on my heart and my life that is still growing, that will ever flow. So even if that leaf blossoms, right? I'm still always connected to that original flowering leaf, which is why I'm never afraid of someone coming along and saying they're going to rob us of all of our secrets. You can never get access to everything here at Kumba Health because we are an intricate program. And as powerful and intricate as I am, number one, and number two, the gift is that the life of the vision keeps on growing and is unstoppable. And so if you are someone who has tapped into this place today, and we are kicking off 2023, taking and being ready to make some smart moves, and maybe you've given away pieces of your leaf, but there's something blossoming in you that is going to be unstoppable, or you are ready to step into being the unstoppable person, the unstoppable leader that you are. But you don't want to just talk about it. You want to be about it, right? If that resonates for you. Or you are someone who are at a place where you've tried some different New Year's resolutions and you've tried some different action steps, and you're right at the place of starting a rhythm, but you want to take it past 2 or 3 days. You want to keep the momentum from it. Or maybe you set an intention to the word for the year and you want to re-plug back in. Or you're someone who has created habits that are not healthy or working for you anymore, and you want to improve your quality of life. You want to improve and deepen how you show up in the world, and you are ready to embody your leadership potential, showing up fiercely as you are. I want to invite you to join our up and coming challenge that we have for the kickoff of one of many amazing things to come with us. And so I want you to comment below. Soon you will be getting, if you are not on our newsletter list already, go ahead and email us. Or actually go ahead and DM me at Ask Sacred on Facebook, Ask Sacred on Instagram, Sacred Walker on LinkedIn, so that you can be a part of our upcoming embodied leadership potential. And I'm so excited for it. I'm literally stuttering over my words because I'm super duper excited. And you're going to be taking so many tools and tips from the experience around transforming barriers to your well-being, stepping powerfully into unstoppable you, and transforming habits that no longer serve you so that you can really thrive in your vision and connect to that leaf of life that was originally this abundant energy that is never going to leave you. It's always going to be pulling on you. It's always going to be there, right? And so Kumbha Health is my leaf of life. You might have a piece here or there of it based on what we've done, but the vision is unstoppable. And now we want to support you to continue to be next level unstoppable too, as clear and confident you. So definitely DM us so that you can make sure that you have your name on our newsletter list. And if you are resonating with this, comment below, subscribe, share a review. I would love to hear from you, and we can connect soon. Absolutely. So I'm so excited, and we will be giving out special prizes during our challenge. So I'm so excited for what you will be able to share with us, and as well, just the next level that's about to come. So we have reached the tail end of another episode of Self-Love for Everyday Superheroes. I want to give a special shout out to you as a everyday superhero. I want to give a special shout out to the Everyday Superhero Award recipients that have recently been chosen and gifted all kinds of sweet, delicious treats. And if you have not seen that yet, that episode yet, go ahead and hop over to the same place that you would DM your email. Go ahead and hop over to Ask Sacred, AskSacred, and you can see the award recipients there. I'm so excited for being connected to you here and making sure that you can continue to fly as unstoppable you as an everyday superhero. So just remember that when I love myself in spite of, I set myself free because she remembered who she was and the game changed. So remember to put self-love, self-care, and success first, no matter what the inner critic or the naysayers in the world say. You were born to shine. Go ahead and like and subscribe below. So glad that you were able to join today's show of Smart Moves by a Black entrepreneur. I would love to hear from you. I would love to be connected to you. So glad that you are joining us here today. All right. So if you've made it to the end, you are amazing. This is our show. Bum, bum, bum. And for those who have been asking, you're like, oh my goodness gracious, what was that treat you mentioned at the beginning? Because you are amazing. You stayed till the very end. So if you stay to the very end, the treat that we are giving is that if you DM us and you get onto our waiting list, we're going to give you a special invitation first exclusive invitation to our upcoming challenge. We want to make sure, because we're gonna keep it to a nice intimate group, so we can make sure that we really hold you accountable to becoming whatever you're stepping into as that unstoppable leader that you are. And so the executives, the everyday superheroes, the high achieving creative entertainers out there, I want to make sure that you are first on the list to hear about it. So go ahead, DM at Ask Sacred to stay connected. So I'm going to go ahead and check in on my notes here to make sure that we got everything. And I am so excited to connect. So once again, she remembered who she was and the game changed. I will speak with you soon. Ciao, Bellas. Looking forward to hearing from you.